Collins, what have you done, union-wise, to participate in the last 2 years of the SEA?
Probably spent 12, 14 hours a day. Yeah. The one thing about this job, especially if, you look like me, everybody knows who you are and everybody knows what your position is. So you're always an advocate for children. You're always an advocate for teachers. And what I've done, quite frankly, is because of the relationships I've built, not only in the political community, but in the administration here in the city of Springfield, have kept 8 schools from going to level 5 and being taken over by the state. For those teachers to be stripped of their contractual rights, to have to reapply for their jobs. We prevented that because of the relationships that we built. Now, we don't agree on everything, but what we do agree on, and we come together on, and we stand together, we can make a difference. And that's the effort that I've been putting in. Which is not to say that behind closed doors, I am all over the superintendent when I think he's wrong, to the extent where, I mean, he knows me well enough, but some of the people he brings to the table get a little bit uncomfortable because I can't get red in the face and I can't get loud because I'm passionate and I care about these things. But I can bring it down, and I do, and the fact of the matter is that the work that we've done together have prevented a portion of this city, schools being taken over by the state. It has brought in money from the NEA Foundation. It has given us national accolades for collaboration. And the work that we've done with our community partners is well respected.
All right, Ms. McGee, what have you done union-wise to participate in the last 2 years of the SEA?
I'm currently an association rep in my building, so I've had to represent teachers in disciplinary actions. I've been with Springfield about 7 years. So since I started, I think I first started with going to our summer conference, New Teacher Summer Conference. I entered the Emerging Leaders Program, and so I've done Emerging Leaders. I've been invited to be a part of the strategic plan review task force for the MTA. I am reaching out in the community, and I've always reached out in the community. This is my community. I live in Amherst. I consider Amherst my community too. I see why I can't have two. But there are a lot of things that happen in Springfield that I'd like to see change, definitely improvement of our education. And, I think in most of my work has been in the building, and I think I would hope to say that I have contributed to the kind of atmosphere that we have in the building. I do a lot of programs in our building. I work with students quite a bit in our building. I would like to do more work in the SEA app, run for a few positions. Unfortunately, I didn't get them. But I think that most of my work has been probably at the state level, other than the work that I do as an association rep. And I'm a delegate, and so I'll be at the annual meeting for MTA. I'll be at the annual meeting for the NEA. I did a workshop at the EMAC conference, the Skin We Speak. I went to Teaching and Learning Conference. I'm in the Teacher Leadership Initiative. So there are things I do to kind of bring back to Springfield what I've learned.
So Ms. McGee, what does it take to increase our capacity in terms of union leadership?
Increase capacity.
Yep.
In terms of union leadership.
What does it take to increase our capacity in terms of union leadership?
Okay, I'm guessing, I'm gonna have to make an assumption that when you say increase capacity, that means reach more members?
Doesn't make any sense to me, so.
Yeah, I think that's what it means, or have more leaders in the union,
Yeah.
more people.
Oh, okay, okay, the
Capacity,
union
the amount
leadership,
of.
okay. So, and I think that, then in that sense, I think it's a very important question, because I think that every member of the union should look at him or herself as if he or she is a leader. And so I think that we do need to do more of that. I know that, that at the MTA, we have an emerging leaders program, but it's very limited to how many people can be involved in it. And so I think there are some things that we should be doing to train teachers to be more impactful, not just as association reps, but overall more impactful. And like I said before, I think some of that comes in with not just connecting with teachers in Springfield, but connecting with teachers all over the United States, all over the world, plugging our teachers into things like professional learning communications on communities on international level. We have what's called the Center for Teaching Quality. That's something I'm doing right now with the Teacher Leadership Initiative. And I plug into teacher blogs and all kinds of wonderful things that teachers are doing all over the United States. We connect online through Twitter, but just enabling our members to be leaders. Now, they may not have an official position as a union leader, but they certainly see themselves as leaders. And there are things that we can do to give them the skills to be a leader, whether that be in their building, whether that be in some capacity in the community. But we certainly need to develop that leadership piece within our membership.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Collins, what does it take to increase our capacity in terms of union leadership?
Listening to the members on a personal basis, one-on-one basis, as much as you can. Finding out who they are, what their values are. Along the way, there are people who will come to you for help or understanding of something they may not know. Offering that up is important. But really, it is all about building relationships with people, getting to know them, getting to know what they care about. And once you've built a certain amount of trust with an individual, you can have an ask. The ask can be very simple. It can be, would you be the communication person in your building? And we've got flyers, hand them out. The ask can be, would you make a phone call or send an email to a state rep or a state senator? The ask can be, you know what, you're really into your subject matter. Would you serve on the SEA's Professional Development Committee and sit down with the district and start trying to make some sense of what's going on with our professional development so it actually meets the needs that have been identified, that teachers need help with, not have this one-size-fits-all PD that's kind of, that people are frustrated with. People don't mind spending the time in PD, but they want it to be valuable. But I would say the most important thing is, and I said it earlier, is trying to restore a little bit of hope in people that they matter, and that if they raise their voices, even if it's just within their own building or within their family, or it can make a difference, and give them the confidence that what they do is probably one of the most important things that can be done on the face of this earth.
So, Mr. Collins, what experience as an SEA member do you feel would be mostly helpful in the position of president?
Well, obviously teaching and building relationships with kids, building relationships with your colleagues, but also having some experience dealing with the wider community, having some knowledge of the way the political system works, and building and having built relationships with elected officials. And you never always agree with the elected officials, but if they come to respect you, then that ear is open to what you have to say. I've been at this for a long time, and I think the thing that probably is my most valuable asset is I'm honest with people, and you know where I'm coming from. I am passionate about what is right for the kids in our charge and what is right for the members of the SCA. And I think that's why I'm still here as president of the SCA. I've probably had more people run against me than any other president of the SCA. And actually, when I first ran, I was for term limits. But growing in this job and building those relationships in the community has made me better at this job. And I changed my mind on that because I got the feeling that with the skills that I have developed, whether it's speaking with passion, speaking logically to people, being known and respected in the community, it really helps me to try to get things moving in the right direction. And that's why I'm still here.
Ms. McGee, what experience as an SEA member do you feel would be most helpful in the position of president?
I think that when I view things, I look at respect. I don't look at myself as the organization. I look at what will people see when they look at the organization. I think that when it comes to the SEA, that regardless of who is in leadership in Springfield, and not to say that I don't think personal relationships are important, because I do believe personal relationships are important, but I think that on a higher level, that whoever is in leadership respects the organization. There are certain organizations, by just the nature of the organization and the participation level of the membership and what they're capable of doing at any moment, that people respect the organization. And so I think that that's one of the things that we need to work on, is that it's the organization that the leadership needs to be considering when they're making decisions. Not necessarily a relationship with a person, because a relationship with a person could be gone in a second. You know, we're but vapors. We'll be here today, we'll be gone tomorrow. You know, if we're lucky, we might get 100 years. That'd be great if I could get 100 years. But organizations live on. And so I think it's important to build the organization with the kind of framework in which it has the strength that when leaders consider the SEA, they go, okay, these are certain things that we know the SEA are going to want. And I think that what's important is that we develop leadership. We develop leadership, so like I said before, every member needs to feel like he or she is a leader. And then we need to have some really strong leaders. If one of us falls, the next one needs to be able to come up and take his or her place and keep moving and push the organization forward.
This might be our last question. So Ms. McGee, why did you want to be the SEA president?
When I was at the Teaching and Leadership Conference, when you go outside of the state and you talk to teachers all over the country, what you recognize is Massachusetts is number one, and hopefully it will stay that way, in education. And what I realized is that Springfield is we have one of the larger unions in the state. So as teachers in Massachusetts, we have the capacity to guide the education policy for the nation. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I went to a policy workshop while I was at the Teacher Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C. And there was a guy who'd been doing policy for years, and he said, you know, what the federal government does is they just go look at and see who's doing it right or who's doing it a certain way that they like. And you know what, they just, they just copy it. And so a lot of the policy that the federal government comes out with, they're just copying what somebody is doing that they feel is doing it right. And so if Springfield and other larger unions in Massachusetts are doing things right and we're making a difference and they're seeing change in student performance, then that can resonate through the rest of the country. And when I realized that, I realized how powerful Massachusetts is and how powerful Springfield is as a local, because Massachusetts is one of the top states in education. And so they look to Massachusetts already. And so what we do as professionals, the direction that we lead the profession, what we do in the classroom, they're always looking at that.
Thank you. Mr. Collins? Why do you want to be the SEA president?
I want to leave the union in good hands. And when you build relationships with people and you see them grow in knowledge and expertise about the challenges that are facing us, the different ways of thinking about how to resolve those challenges, I think since 2009, when we lost so many excellent people who had experience in a wide range of things, professional development, grievances, negotiations, organizing, that we've come a long way. And it's about reaching out to people. And you gotta lead by example. You've got to put the time in, you've got to put your heart and soul in. And when people see you doing that, and then you've built that relationship and you know something about their values, and you reach out and ask, I have found that they have stepped up. And I'm feeling much, much better about this union than I did 4 or 5 years ago. I hope we continue to build those relationships and get people willing. I mean, time is precious. Teachers have very little of it. And I am so thankful for the people who have stepped up, who are willing to put their voice out there in the community, both internally with their colleagues and externally with a wider community, to try and make life better for the kids in our charge, because that's what's going to make life better for the teachers in the city of Springfield. And I'm coming close to the end of the line as far as that goes. Some people say I should be at the end of the line. But
We'll save it for us.
All right, so folks, we have come to the end of our question and answer period, and now it's time for closing remarks, and each candidate will have 2 minutes to make their wrap-up remarks. And Tim is going to go first. I want to just take a minute, maybe 30 seconds, take a deep breath and kind of collect yourselves. And then how you're going to wrap things up, given the questions that you've been presenting.
well, you know, I don't know how many people are going to view this, but I want your vote so I can continue the work that I started some 18, 19 years ago as president of the SEA. I care deeply about every teacher. I care deeply about all the students that are in our charge. I care deeply about my home, the city of Springfield. And I think I still have the fire in the belly and the passion and the knowledge, and I think I can articulate your desires and your hopes for the future. And I want to continue with what I have been doing for the last number of years on your behalf. And I also want to continue to keep inviting more of you in. And I need to thank all the people who come to our meetings on a monthly basis, who are on our various committees, who are willing to go that extra mile on behalf of their colleagues and their students. And I will continue to tirelessly be an advocate for you, our kids, and the Springfield Public Schools. And so I ask for your vote.
I ask for your vote. My vision is for this organization to be a strong organization where we don't just hear a few voices, but if we've got 2,500 members, that we hear 2,500 voices strong, that we're connected not just to each other, but that we're connected to other teachers in the state and the nation and the world. So it's not just 2,500 voices. If we need it to be, it could be thousands and hundreds of thousands of voices. We're not going to fight this battle with each local fighting to prevent our schools from being taken over. We're going to fight this battle by, number one, being together, with everyone participating, not just the leadership that have just been in the trenches for so long, with no one to the left or right of them. We need to look at teachers on a state level, national level, international level. That's how we have to fight this battle. We have to develop a force that is formidable. When I think about Springfield and I think about Holyoke, it seems to me that, and I don't want to say that that's the direction that we're going, but it seems almost inevitable when continuously our instruction time is taken from us. The time we need to teach these students is taken from us. And we've got to fight back, not adversarially, but logically, but with a strong voice, a voice that goes beyond Springfield, with the support, with the backing of teachers from all over the world if need be. And I think we can do that. I think we can do that.